What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm JLAG, and I'm here with
NBEA.
And this episode is recapping and reviewing Riverdale Season 2, Chapter 20, and it is called
Tales from the Darkside. And don't forget, guys, make sure you stay tuned for the end of the episode because we're going to be covering off our recap roundups.
And as always, to all our continuing listeners and our brand new ones, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Enjoy the podcast. Welcome back.
Welcome back. We back. Hey. Missed you guys.
We've been pretty busy this week.
Yeah, it's been a week off, but we've been lit. Our YouTube channel has been on fire.
If you guys haven't checked it out yet, please do so. It's Recap Rewind on YouTube, and we put together some amazing videos for you guys.
We got some good countdowns on there right now.
Yeah.
So guys, go check it out. Let us know what you guys are thinking. Are we on point? Is it lit? Are you laughing?
Yeah, let us know. I feel like they're different. Not to glow us up a little bit more, but I feel like they're like different and cool.
Yeah, they're just lit. So just go watch it.
Just check them out. Okay, so let's get into the episode. First and foremost, what do you think of the episode?
I really liked it, but I was having like a couple like mixed feelings in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie, like during Jughead's like little moment. Right. But then I'm like, you know what? I like what they're doing with this.
Yeah, it's
definitely like a standalone episode. It felt like I don't think I want them to do this again, like for the rest of the season. Like I'm good now. I got enough like artistic like shots going up in here.
Point, yeah.
So now I'm good.
Right.
Cool episode. I liked it. And B&V at the end, like they just killed it.
They just
and
turned it
made
out.
Everything like amazing.
Made it worth it. Totally. So yeah, as MB's mentioning, the episode is obviously broken down into 3 separate stories, and it's prefaced in the beginning of the episode by this like random narration. It's not Jughead.
No.
It's like the following.
It was like typewriter font.
Yeah, it's
like a weird like film burn.
Yeah,
like
some
creepy.
like some really crappy film burn too. And it was like some high school film burn.
Yeah.
And it was like the following video you'll be watching is like 3 stories, and it was traumatizing because these kids were. I was like, geez, this is this
I'm
American Horror Story?
Like
what's
thank
going
you,
on?
yeah, for like actually saying these kids are in high school.
It's true.
Like they're all traumatized.
It's one of those things that like you keep forgetting about when you're watching the show because it's like, damn,
I didn't forget.
Like 60.
No, I didn't forget. This entire episode, I'm like, but they're in high school, Sheriff Keller.
They are children.
Why are you showing Betty evidence of a case? She is literally grade 10. Like I didn't understand what was happening. Okay, let's go into it.
Let's get into it. So yeah, like I said, it breaks into 3
segments.
3 segments, and it starts off with Archie and Jughead as like that's like the first storyline. So
I think it all starts originally with everyone seeing this letter or like the note.
Yes, there's like something that gets published.
The Black Hood said, right?
I'm sure by Alice Cooper. None other than.
Mommy.
And she, I'm gonna say she published it, and it basically says in the newspaper that the town of Riverdale has 48 hours to prove themselves.
So basically, like turn the F up and like be good people.
Yeah, because he's like, I killed the sugar man, so you guys should be good, but like be good for 48 hours, and I'll dip. If not, I'm coming back, and I'm gonna
like
come
slay.
I'm gonna slay somebody. So everybody's like, oh boy.
The only person that slayed was Daddy Keller.
Yeah, honestly, guys, I can't. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's get to that part.
So first it starts off with Whoop. Oh my god. Sorry. First it starts off with Bughead, and we have our like kind of reunion moment, and it's this really nice aerial shot of them like talking in bed, and they're just recapping what happened to, Sugarman, and Betty's kind of upset about it because she was like, I thought I was saving him, and then he ends up killing him anyway. So
did you book how like Betty kind of like interrupted Jughead when he was like talking?
I didn't book it. No.
She was like saying something, and he was like trying to like support her.
Yeah.
And then she cuts him off by like going off like on another rant.
Right.
And his face was like, ugh. Like.
But I also do feel like that's what they do a lot of. Do you remember their first kiss? Let's rewind back to the first kiss.
100%.
She literally was like in the middle of like
she like
thinking
gets
of something.
Distracted. Yeah.
So I think that's just how she is. Her brain is always on. She's always like focused. And I think this episode, more than any episode, I'm going to say it right off the top of our podcast, she's becoming more and more like her mom than ever before. And this episode was very, very clear of that. We've seen little inklings of it here and there, her being a badass and her being a super sleuth. But like this episode, I found that she was like Alice Cooper to the T.
Yeah, and she's on point all the time.
But like also like sleuthy, and like the way that Alice can get a little dirty sometimes with like
that's how you gotta be,
pulling a hairpin out of her hair to like get into people's houses and stuff. I thought it was very like she's always on, she's always investigating. It's in her blood, you can tell.
Okay, so with Juggy.
So she's with Juggy, and she's kind of like trying to work out like, but why did he get shot in the jail cell? And she starts to come to a conclusion that we had also talked about last episode. You know, like maybe Sheriff Keller's involved in it because how else?
How did someone with a gun walk into the prison and shoot the
kill
guy,
the
drug dealer guy?
Yeah. So she's on her tangent, and on the same side, I think Penny Peabody calls Jughead. Right. And she's so
that's sort of where the episode now breaks off, right? You got Betty in the bed. Jughead has to walk away because he got the phone call from Penny.
Right.
And then she says, da-da-da.
She's like, you need to come and talk to me. I'm calling in a favor.
Hey, remember that favor that you owed me? Now I need it.
Yeah.
It was like so like, he's like,
I don't know. And so he does say right off the top when he meets her at Pops, he's like, listen.
Like, we're done
here.
Yeah,
we're done here. Whatever you guys want, whatever you want to do right now, I'm not down. Yeah. So like, whatever your debt is with your dad, like, I'm not doing it. And she was like, well, your dad needs our help. And
she's basically like, your dad got beat the F up in prison by the Ghoulies. And so basically now we have to like do some like things to like basically what?
Like get him out. She's like, you need money.
We need the money.
You need money to get out. So let's figure this out. You need to work for me.
I'll give you the money if you do this drug transaction or like this drug quote unquote transaction.
Yeah. This pancake mix transaction. Is that what she's
and then he's like, okay, fine.
Yeah, so
he's desperate, right? Like he doesn't have money. He doesn't have the money. Yeah. He wants to get his dad out of jail.
But already off the top, was this not a very sketchy situation?
100%. She's sketch all over anyway. Yeah, I mean, FP told us.
But it got even weirder. She was like, you need to be here at this particular time. Get there before midnight. Like there were so many like rules to it that I was like, okay, they're setting this up to be like a very, very sketchy situation. So anyway, he's like, okay, fine, I'm gonna drop off this package, and it's in Greendale. She has to bring this like pancake mix box to Greendale.
And she's like, by the way, you need a car.
Like a truck.
Because, like you can't use your bike.
Right. So now he's on his way to like figure out
who he's gonna use as the car.
And then that's when it becomes like Jughead and Archie's story. Yeah. And he's like, all right, Archie, I'm calling in your favor because you done fucked everything up last episode. Yeah. So and Archie's like, obviously anything. Like I'll do anything for you right now.
Let's do this.
So he's like, I need your car. And then he's like starting to ask questions, and he's like, no questions.
Like, don't ask anything, just do this for me, like come through. And he's like, okay, I got you.
Yeah. So he comes through for him, which was cool. And they're driving in the car.
So let's talk about them picking up this package, right? Yeah. Let's talk about the package because you were saying something really cool about it.
Okay, so I want to talk about this package, and maybe I'll bring it up a little bit later in the episode as well. But I, right off the top, thought this box was very different.
Like the box itself looked weird.
Like weird, you know, like it wasn't just a regular like box crate that you would see like in a random like with drugs in it. Like if we saw the episode where you know, the barrels were filled with drugs in the barn at the Blossom like residence. Like things don't put production value into a box, and I just felt this box looked very different,
like ancient.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good point. Yeah.
So I really feel that
with, like the chains and like
there were like the buckle looked very specific, like the zoom into it. I was like, okay,
you said like a pirate's chest, which is like really interesting.
Exactly. Yeah. So I just feel like there's something very special about this box, and because it was being shipped to Greendale, and because we still technically don't know what it is, because she did say like, yes, it might be drugs. We're all assuming
she was kind of very like thing with it.
We're all assuming it's the JJ at this point, but like maybe it isn't.
Yeah. It's like she wants us to think it is the JJ, but it's like something else.
Right.
It could be.
And we all know at this point in time that there is a potential overarching or potential crossover with Sabrina the Teenage Witch, who lives in Greendale. Right. So the fact that they're going to Greendale with this box that looks really mystical and magical, and we'll talk about it later, like what happens, like who picks up the box, it just seemed very not like magical to me. I've watched a lot of magical shows in my life.
You thought it was magical?
Yes, definitely. I felt like it was very like Charmed meets like, you know, this is a relic. There's something in that box. Like, I don't know. It just didn't feel like drugs. Okay. You don't need a lock for drugs. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. There was a lock on the damn thing. So I'm gonna call it right now, guys. Episode 20.
So anyway, so they get the package.
They get the
this
package.
Mystical or / drugs package.
Correct.
They put it onto Archie's truck and they start driving off. And it's like the middle of the night. It's like really creepy.
Right.
And like just to see, like, guys, the shots in this episode were insane.
They did a good job.
Like everything looked really, really,
I feel like
good.
they always do a good job with it.
This one though, I noticed it. Like it was like ready. It was like,
we all know how hard nighttime shooting is too. So it was really, really good. Archie has a really quick heart to heart with Jughead in the car, and he's like, "What do you like? Where's the end game with this? Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, you're in the Serpents now."
He had a cute moment. He was like, and I didn't think Archie would ever think like this, but he was like, I always picture us like going to New York, and like I'm a singer, like a songwriter, and like you're a writer in New York, and we're like in like the East Village, and Juggy's like, it doesn't even like exist anymore. Yeah. And he's like, and where are the girls? And he's like, they're there too, like on the East Side, like they're like rich like girls. Yeah. I'm like, that's so cute. Like I didn't think Archie would be like the one to think ahead like that, to dream like that. Yeah. It was really, it was a cute moment.
It was cute, but obviously like.
And he's basically telling Juggy like, dude, like be careful. You're getting into like, hot waters.
He's very concerned for him. You can tell he's very worried. And it really flashed me back to that moment where Fred was talking to Archie about how he had tried all his life to kind of like get FP out of that shit. So it really was a parallel to me when I saw them. And I'm like, damn, I really hope that doesn't become the case.
Does he have a choice at this point? It's his dad. He literally is terrified for his father.
He's stuck, but
it's hard.
He does make really shitty decisions. Yeah. Anyway, so they get a flat tire. Mm-hmm. Like as soon as they have finished that conversation, it's like boom, and they get the flat tire, and they're like, "We're gonna have to call Triple C instead of Triple A, Triple C." And
Jughead's like, "Are you dumb? Well, there's drugs in the car. We can't."
So
and then Archie's like, "True."
So then he's like, "Call Betty," and he's like, "Don't call Betty. Don't pull her into it."
Yeah. See what he does? Juggy right away. He's like, "Let's call Betty," and Archie's like, "No, you're not involving Betty. You're not gonna get anyone else involved."
Exactly.
And then Jughead's like, "Let's call Kevin."
And he's like, "All right, I can do that." True. And so they're about to call Kevin.
Yeah, like
some guy stops over.
Yeah.
And it's like
some shady ass truck.
And he's like, "Hey, I can give you, like, do you guys need a ride?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I need money though. Give me money." So he's like, "Here's $18. That's all I literally have." And he's like, "I'm only gonna take one of you." So then Jughead's like, "I'll go. I volunteer as tribute." And then Archie heads inside, or like
he just stays by the car.
Yeah. He's like, we don't need your help. Thanks so much for all your help all the way. And I'll like take the ride. And he's like, "Dude, are you fucking serious?"
Yeah, like be careful. Cool, bye.
And then he's like, "Bye." Obviously, at that point in time, I was like, okay, Archie's gonna come through at some point, because clearly
how's he gonna get home? Like there's no car. He needs to fix the car.
So then he's driving, and
right away, like this car ride is so sketchy.
Everything about this whole scene,
like this guy's freaky,
and this is why it keeps adding to this whole idea of like magic and Greendale and weirdness. Because as soon as they leave, Archie sees a deer, like a bloody deer, like crossing the street, and I was like, okay, so there's like, is that a ghost? Like, what is that? And then these guys are driving.
So something that he said that I asked you later, because he was like, I almost thought he was Jason Blossom, like about Archie on the side of the road. Right. And he's like heading to Greendale. You never know what you're going to find.
Exactly.
And when I asked you, I'm like, oh my God, like, yeah, because like Greendale is like this spooky, mystical, magical town.
Spooky.
He would be seeing a ghost on the side of the road. True.
Exactly.
Okay, I get it now.
Yeah. So that whole conversation happens. They have a quick conversation about the Black Hood.
Because of the radio. So this guy's listening to like a podcast or like the radio or something
like
about like
podcast,
these righteous people in Riverdale, and how Riverdale has been cursed and like corrupted, and like it's all with sinners. Yeah. And so right away you're like, could he be the Black Hood? And I'm like, no, I don't think so.
No, yeah.
But it's just setting an eerie like vibe.
Yeah, and like it does show.
Jughead like sketches out a little bit.
Yeah, it does also show like this scope of the Black Hood, and how he's like basically everywhere, and everybody's seeing him as like this person. The truck driver was saying that like some people are seeing him as like a hero. Like
he's doing the
because
right
he's helping people like get killed. And then he's like, yeah, you can probably see it that way. And then he's like, have you heard of the Riverdale Reaper? And then he kind of mentions that very lightly
which is so surprising to me, because someone like Jughead, who like loves reading and loves the
knows
history
serial
of
killers
everything
and
in
stuff.
horror genre, he would definitely know about a Riverdale Reaper.
Yeah, how would he have not have known that? So I don't think that story gets revealed until later, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll move on. Like I said, Archie sees, or he gets the car fixed, and then he sees the deer, and then
So he's like driving off now.
he's driving off. He's about to drive off,
And
but then he sees the deer like
Yeah.
dip or whatever.
Yeah.
Then it cuts to them at the gas station. Jughead's like, oh, he's like, okay, I'm gonna
This
fill
guy
up the
was
gas.
like wasting time too.
He was
He's like,
wasting
I gotta
time.
go get gas.
And-
I'm hungry now. Like, ugh.
Let's go eat food. Yeah, so like you can tell that Jughead's like in a rush. He's like looking at his watch.
Yeah.
He's like, I need to go. And so then they sit down and have dinner. And this place ain't Pops. That's for damn
No,
sure.
for sure.
It ain't Pops. So
What was he even eating? It
I
was
don't
like
know.
it looked like it was like pie, but then he put like ketchup on it, and I was like, are
Maybe-
they just trying to like make weird noises? Because like the sound effects are like lit right
clack,
now.
clack, clack.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was like a meat pie. Who knows?
It
So
looked disgusting.
he tells a story about the Riverdale Reaper,
Reaper.
and essentially it's a guy who lived in the near Fox Forest, and he killed a family. Is that what the
Mm-hmm. I
story
don't
was?
remember.
He kills a family, and people said that like he ran away, but some people think that he's still in Riverdale.
He's still there, yeah.
So then, like the
Like they
guy's
chased him out, but like he didn't really like get chased out. He's
Right.
still lurking.
So his theory is that potentially the Black Hood is
the
the
Reaper.
Riverdale Reaper. What was your thoughts on that?
I didn't care. I really didn't care.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's like, and then what? Okay, so what? He is the Reaper, and then what?
Yeah.
Like, but who is the Black Hood then?
Right. I think that's one of the things that would be frustrating is like, okay, if it was a Riverdale Reaper, then does that mean that we still know him or we don't know
exactly.
him?
Like whether or
who
not
is
you're the
he?
Reaper or you're the Reaper's grandson or the nephew, whatever. I don't care. Like, who are you? Like, what are you doing?
What are you doing here? So that finishes off, and then the guy's like, all right, well now you got to pay for dinner.
It
So
was
random.
So the girl's like, okay, like, are you guys gonna
Here's your
pay?
bill, yeah.
He's like, you're paying.
And then
Jughead's like, bro, I just gave you my $18. Like, I have no money.
and he's like, that was for the gas, so now you're like,
Yeah, I'm
now
like,
you
yo,
gotta.
this guy's so rude.
And then he was getting really, really tight about it. He was like,
He's
I'm
like,
gonna
oh,
take
yeah?
your chest
I'll just leave.
and I'm gonna leave with your shit.
Yeah.
And then Jughead's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So then Archie comes in
Right
to
then,
save
like,
the
Archie's
day.
like, I have my debit card, don't worry.
He's like, yo, take that bet. And so he pays for the bill. Archie's like, thank you so much.
It was such a like anticlimactic moment because I'm like, oh no,
Yeah,
like something's about to go
yeah,
down, and
yeah.
Archie's like, don't worry, I got it. Cut to the scene of like them carrying the chest back to Archie's car. I was like, okay, so like, what
So
was the
nothing
point of
happened.
all of this?
So nothing happened.
Like literally detour.
Literally, Archie
Like, I
was just
don't
like,
understand.
here to serve the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, he thanks Archie, and then they continue.
Like
to
it
head
would have
on.
been cooler if like somehow we found out that guy was like not even like real. He was like a ghost,
He was
or
a
like he was the
ghost.
Reaper,
Yeah.
and like he's just a
Ooh,
spirit
I
on
just
the
got chills.
highway, in the
That-
midnight highway.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
something
I
like
like
that.
that. I
It
like
didn't
that.
even lead to that.
Because the writers did mention that this episode was like going to be their Halloween
Yeah, like a
episode.
spooky.
So I would have been down for something supernatural, but you were saying it earlier, like maybe you're not so down for something too crazy magical right now.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not down for Riverdale to get magical. I'm down for a spin-off, like
Yeah.
another show to like creep up and like do that thing. But in this world with these characters, I feel like it's
real.
it'll be too much.
Right.
Like it'll be too much. There's
Right.
already so much story to tell.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
true. It's true.
So Archie and Juggy go there. They get to the factory. They roll up. They
drop
take
it
the
off.
box. They go into this factory, and then who rolls up?
Some Russian woman.
Some Russian granny. Like I
Yeah.
thought it was Nana at first because like all I saw was the wheelchair. I'm like,
Can
oh my
you
God, she's
imagine if it
doing
was
drugs.
Nana
She's
Blossom?
dealing drugs.
You found
She got
where
out of the fire and now she's like dealing drugs. But it was like some old like Russian woman.
And then finally my accents can come through, and she's
Yes.
like, "You're late." I did it. I
Yeah,
did
you
it.
did it. Good job.
And she was like, "You're the new delivery boy." Penny Peabody told me that like
Yeah.
like you're
like your
Jughead.
Jughead. He's like, you know my name?
Yeah. So he's like, now
like,
you're
oh,
doing
shit.
it. You're taking over for the Ghoulies.
Yeah.
So we're still connecting into drugs, which is potential.
Okay.
But I still think it might
got
be
your
something
theory, yeah.
else. Anyway, so now he's like stuck.
Well, you're right because she doesn't look like your typical like drug dealer from
Yeah.
like Riverdale or like Greendale or whatever.
Anywhere.
She looked very like ancient, mystical,
Yeah.
like
She reminded
historic.
me. Yeah, she reminded me of like the woman from The Incredibles, like the
Yeah.
one who made like all the costumes, and she like was magical kind
Yeah.
of. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't
So
know.
that happens.
Yeah.
And then they go home.
I
or they
feel
go
like she's
with the
like
pops.
maybe she's like Sabrina's grandma or something.
Maybe. We don't know what's going to happen,
I don't
right?
know.
You
I
might
don't
be
know.
on
We'll see.
something.
So anyway,
So after that scene, the boys go to Pops.
because they're like pretty upset about everything that had just happened, and so yeah, then they
They go to Pops. They get into the diner. They sit down. They're like, oh, whatever. And then Archie's like, I'll drive you home. Like, it's morning. He's like, no, I'm going to go see my dad. So then he leaves the diner.
right.
And I think that's where their scene ends.
Yeah. What did you think of that moment? It was pretty depressing because
Well, Which one?
The one at Pops.
Why?
Talking about Pops?
Yeah. Why?
Because, like, he's like, I can't get out of this. Like, there's no way that I can get out of this situation. And like, Archie's like, I can't do anything for you. Like, he's like, can you just like try? And he's like,
until FP's out, this is gonna be his storyline. Like, there's nothing else we can do about it. You know.
There's nothing else we can do.
That's it.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. We're stuck.
Yeah.
So then it cuts to the next day, I guess. He goes to visit his dad in jail.
Yes.
Because he's like,
or like the next morning.
Yeah. Because he's like, oh, it's like visiting time now. I'm gonna go and visit my dad.
So he rolls up to the prison, and then FP sits down, and I know, okay, I'm like, it's taking too long to see FP's beautiful face, and like he's fine. He's totally fine. There's not a scratch on his face.
Hey, it's cute, all rich.
And so basically, he realizes that like Penny Peabody
like
screwed him over.
Yeah. And so he goes to visit Penny, and he's like, you totally lied to me. I can't believe you. And then we find out that Penny says to Jughead, FP broke a promise with me, so now you got to pay for it, boy. And I'm just getting started with you. Yeah. So what is her sitch? Like, what do you think about that whole situation? I mean, she's gonna keep effing with him, basically.
Yeah. You can't be in a gang halfway. They're gonna pull you in fully.
That's true.
Like, come on.
That's true. But I wonder if he's gonna like go to his dad and see if he can figure shit out.
I'm sure he's gonna try to hide it, but it's gonna get to a point where he can. It looks like next episode FP's gonna get out. Right. So I feel like Juggy's gonna try to hide it from FP, and then something's gonna happen that FP's gonna find out, and then he's gonna go save his son.
Save his son.
That's what's gonna happen.
Then we get a quick cut to boom, Josie, just Josie,
AKA
not and the
Beyonce, AKA Destiny's Child, AKA R.I.P. Destiny's Child.
Yes,
because Josie breaks the F off this episode.
So I was really excited about this because I was happy to see her get her own like sequence and her own scene. I love Josie. It's not that I love her or specifically or anything.
You love Beyonce?
But I love Beyonce. I just love the fact that she has had a moment. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's taken so long for her to finally have a moment. It's episode it's the 20th chapter, and finally we get a sequence with her like having a storyline kind of. So it was cool to see her drive it forward too.
Yeah.
So
she had some good moments in this episode.
So it shows her like singing and practicing a song at a very like late night hour.
Like, it's too late to be at school. Like, the lights are off, girl. What are you doing?
Do people not have like voice recording systems like in their own? Like, go somewhere else. But anyway, so she's recording at school or she's practicing. The janitor rolls up behind her.
No, he doesn't. He like breaks into the room. He like scared the F out of me. I'm like, what? So creepy.
He's like, hey,
my Josie girl,
I'm closing the doors. Do you want me to get you or anything? And then she was like, I'm just gonna sneak out the side, just like I normally do. And he's like, keep her a secret. He doesn't have that voice, but he's weird. He's really weird. He's like a sketch bag. So then she goes home.
She goes home to the 5 seasons because now Mary McCoy has moved out of her house, and I was dying of laughter because real talk, they just didn't want to build a set for their house. Like, that's for sure the reason why they moved into a hotel. Like, you know that. Like, you know, like, Josie has one episode. Girl, you're not gonna get your own set because like you're not in this enough. So how about your mommy goes to the hotel and that's it?
Well, she does have a dinner scene in the last season.
Yeah, you're right. So wait, no, wasn't that at the lodges? Oh, Hermione was hosting that dinner, right? Yeah, and then the husband came over. Yeah, that wasn't even their house.
They don't even have a house. Okay, sorry, that's funny that you booked that. So yeah, they're living in the 5 seasons, and the reason is according to Mayor McCoy.
BS, like, Mayor McCoy spending everyone's like tax money.
she's like now you're closer to home. Like, you're closer to school. How about you go
pick up your daughter from school? How about that instead of moving to a hotel? So anyway, Josie walks in and Mayor McCoy's like freaking out. She's like, girl, where you been? Like, it's night.
Yeah.
It's like dusk.
And I think she said, she's like, I don't need a bodyguard. I'm not Whitney.
Yeah. I love her like that.
Because she's like, I feel like I need someone to like come to protect you. And she's like, no. So then it's the next day and she talks to Cheryl. So now Cheryl's her like BF.
They're like, bestie. So they walk to her locker, like her and Cheryl.
Right.
She opens the locker and she sees like a stuffed toy with like a little note beside it.
So it's like,
and right away I'm like, it's the cleaner guy. Yeah. Like, it's the custodian.
Such a weirdo. Yeah.
Because how does he get into her locker? Like, they always have the codes, right?
The keys.
But I think Cheryl says that it's like a secret bae or something.
She's like, ooh, what a secret admirer. Yeah. Or bae, whatever.
Yeah.
And like she kind of shrugs it off. She doesn't think anything of it. She's like, whatever.
Like, they don't even talk about Reggie. Like, that. This is the weirdest thing to me. Like, for 2 episodes, they've been making out. He's been flirting with her.
Yeah.
She's got a secret bait. They don't even throw Reggie's name out there.
Not even once. He's not even in this.
It's like he doesn't
episode.
even exist. It was so weird.
I don't understand. I think that's one of the things that I never really understood about Reggie's character in general, is because he would always come in and out and cause trouble with Archie, but then he would like disappear. He would never like really have his own moment. He'd maybe have like a few moments here and there, but he wouldn't have his like full sequence.
Which is fine,
moment.
but you guys introduced him flirting with Josie like this season.
Exactly.
So like I'm thinking that you guys are gonna link this
like
up.
come through.
Yeah, like you guys don't even, Cheryl doesn't even talk about it.
Didn't even happen. So I think she goes to class at some point and Chuck asks her out and is like, hey, you want to go on a date? And she was like, obviously not, you're like a skis bag. And then that moment ends, and that's like the first time that we see Chuck. Then it cuts to I think Cheryl again saying like, she's like, oh yeah, that was so weird, like Chuck just asked me out. And then she was like, yeah, that's weird. And then she was like, also you have a recording date. And then Josie's like, no, I can't do it, I'm stressed out. And then she was like, if you don't want to do it, then that's totally fine, I understand, but you know, like I'm doing this for you because like you really helped me out. And then she was like, no, I'll see what I can do. And then suddenly out of nowhere later on, I think there's like, she's in the locker
she was like walking,
and
she runs into
Mel and Val,
yeah.
And they're like, yo, what the hell, dude?
They're like, what are you doing, girl? You're ditching us? You're gonna be a solo? She's just like, no, I'm just like trying it.
And she's like, thanks
they're like,
a lot.
no, like you're cut now. Like we don't want to be a part of you anymore.
We're done.
We're done. She's like, what? I was like, yeah, but like you did, like you were shady.
But then she doesn't even give no shits, because then the next day she just like continues on and like does the recording anyway. Yeah. She goes to practice in the night. Then it cuts again to like the second night. So this is like the second.
I think she's like practicing again now, like in that room. She's, I think, leaving the school, and it's like night, and she's like scared at this point. Yeah. And he's like, and he shows up, and she's like, you know what? Can you just drive me home? Like, yeah. At this point, she's like fed up with him after he's tried to like take her out already. She's like, I just want to ride home. Like I'm scared. Yeah. And he's like, okay, cool, but let's go somewhere first. And he takes her to the Pops Diner.
So they have like
cute
a mini
moment.
date.
Really cute moment. I don't think she was even expecting it.
She obviously doesn't, because she's like, listen, we're not.
Yeah, like this isn't on a date. Like turn your like, yeah.
So they're hanging out, and it's
really cute.
And
he's basically, Chuck is saying like, he's basically saying that he's like a good boy now. He's like good, like he's going to church. And then Pop like swoops in. He's like, hey, nice seeing you at church. I'm like, oh god. And then they start giggling because she's like, did you set that up? And he's like, no, I didn't. Like I swear, like it's like it was totally whatever. And then I think like the music's playing, and he's like, do you want to dance? And I was like, oh my god, this is so cute. Like no one's ever danced before. Inside, they've danced on the top of Pops singing Milkshake, but they've never danced on the inside with this cute music. And they totally like have a really, really cute moment. Like I have to say, like it put a huge smile on my face. I was like, this is really cute.
I'm just saying,
they're like vibing
right off the top. Like Chuck is pretty hot.
He's very charming. Yeah. And he's charming. Like and they were dancing, like swinging together, cool. And then of course, Buzzkill Mama, she like walks in. She's like, have you been checking your phone? I've been texting you. And then Sheriff Keller's there.
Just lurking.
I'm like, what are you doing here?
Like he's been
like,
watching.
Don't you have work to do? Why are you chasing?
Mayor he's got work to do now.
Mayor McCoy's daughter at Pops. Like, go away, but don't go away. I do like your body.
Come back later.
So she takes her.
Yeah,
like,
she gets pissed.
She pulls Josie. She's like, I'm so sorry, whatever.
The question that I had was like, why wasn't you checking your phone? Like, dude,
girl,
just message your mom.
Be like, I'm good. I'm coming home. Like, what the hell? Like, you guys know there's a killer on the loose. Check your texts.
So she moves on, and then it's the next day at school. And Cheryl is with her, and she like kind of gives her like the lowdown of what happened.
She's like, you went on a date with Chuck.
And she's like, oh, gross. And then she walks through, and she sees a box on like the floor. No, like on like a chair. Yeah. And then she was like, ooh, another secret admirer. So she gets there. She opens it up, and it's a drawing of Josie, like a perfect drawing, like beautiful. Like, and then it's like, sketched. If no one can, if I can't have you, no one will. It was no one can. Yeah, it was like, oh, really sketchy. And then she was like, and then
Josie's like, who did this?
And then the entire time Cheryl's like chirping in her ear, being like, oh my god, Chuck did this. Like he's turning up. He's so weird. What a weirdo.
He's so weird.
And then she's like, open up the box. Like now looking back on it now,
I'm like, yo, you're so weird, girl. What the hell?
So she's like, open up the box. So she opens up the box and it's a fucking heart, like a pig's heart.
Pig's heart. I'm like, girl, what?
What's wrong with you, man?
Cheryl, what's going on with you, girl?
And the reason why we're saying, Cheryl, what's wrong with you is because by the end of next episode, so it's
that whole scene, like.
Right. So that ends, and then Josie has a dream that she's back at school and she's singing, and then there's someone,
and then the killer like comes and like
cuts her neck, and then she wakes up in like a terror, and she like lost her voice. She's like, and she can't speak.
I was like, what happened?
And then Mayor McCoy's like, your voice.
Mayor McCoy came up to her, so I'm like, do you sleep in your daughter's room too?
I mean, I guess they're like in a motel or hotel.
Oh, they're in a hotel now. Yeah,
it makes sense. And then she's like. And then it cuts.
She loses her voice.
Yeah. But then the final scene that we get is Cheryl drawing a picture of both of them.
Picture, like she's gonna mail it to her now. Like, what are you doing? Why are you so creepy?
So,
Cheryl?
What did you think of that whole reveal and like what's going on with Cheryl? It was definitely. I
was shocked for sure. I was like, I did not think it was.
But like, what is going on with Cheryl?
I have no idea what's going on. Like, either she's in love with her, like in love with Josie, or she's like psychotic.
So I feel like I need to give like Cheryl a bit of like a break, like mental breakdown, because she had a twin. Her twin was murdered.
You're giving her a mental break, or you're giving her a mental breakdown?
Like her like a breakdown of her mental state.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
okay, yeah. You're right. She's had to go through a lot. She's
had some shit. She's had suicidal thoughts. She tried to kill herself last season. She burned her house down. So there's all these things that like kind of link and
she
makes.
Lost her Nana. Like that's like a lot.
We don't know what happened to Nana, but yeah, there's all these like crazy things that she has done in the past to show that she really like needs love and attention. She doesn't get it from home, obviously.
You know what though? But doing something like diabolical to like a classmate, she hasn't done anything like this before.
She's done things kind of manipulative though. She does it all the time with people that she knows, you know, like she tries it on people first and foremost, and then like sees what happens.
Weird. Yeah, I don't know. And especially because like Josie welcomed her too, like into the Pussycats, and they sang Milkshake. It's true. Like,
but I guess like it comes to a point where like Cheryl gets obsessive and she wants just all that attention on her, and she like wants to keep them there. So I think that's.
And you're right, like you were saying, like you're almost like she's almost creating an environment where like Josie needs her now. Yeah.
Because in the beginning,
she left all her friends. She's got no more friends.
Because in the beginning, because you were saying that like, oh, but she got her the record deal. Isn't that enough?
Yeah.
But then it's like at one point in time, Josie's like, no, I'm too stressed to even do the record deal. And then you can tell that Cheryl's like, okay, if you don't want to do it, that's totally fine. But like, it's what I wanted to do. I
don't know what game she's playing right now, though. To be honest, like I don't know what her end game is with this.
I think she's just like a very mentally damaged person, and I think that's just what we have to recognize and like understand that Cheryl is. As fun as she is to watch, she's also a very like damaged kind of cray person, and I think that's just the reality of who she is.
Yeah.
Still love you, Cheryl, though. And then that's the end of that like sequence, that storyline. Yeah. So Josie's
now
done.
Josie's done.
Then we like rewind all the way back to
Betty
the moment
and
Veronica
in bed, right?
Yes, Betty's in bed.
So you can see it all happening now at the same time.
Yes. So now it's kind of
as Jughead's getting the call,
right.
The camera sort of just stays on Betty this time,
right.
And she's like, you could tell like her brain is like on fire, like she's working.
yeah, she's working overtime. And so then it cuts to Betty and Veronica. I think is it Pops? They're together.
I think they're in the student lounge? Office, the blue and gold.
Okay.
And they're talking. This is like I love this scene.
So they're just talking. I love like the way they wrote them together.
Yeah, like
they're very like she's like, I think something's going on with Sheriff Keller.
I wish I knew how much was written and how much is
like ad-libbed.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of their like dialogue together, their moments together are just like off of each other, like vibing off of each other.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. Yeah, I can totally see that.
And so it's so cute because like they're both like Sheriff Keller. I think Veronica's are saying it.
They both say it at the same time.
You know, Kevin's been saying like his dad's been like off and stuff, like he's been coming home late.
And then Veronica's like, or Betty's like, how so?
Yeah, and like, so they start like talking about it. Yeah, and they're like, oh, and they both get to like a conclusion.
And then one of them is like, she's cheating.
But like,
and the other one, and then Betty's like, he's the black hood.
He's the black hood.
I didn't know which one you were gonna say.
That was hard.
So Betty thinks that he's the Black Hood.
And then Veronica's like, he's cheating on the mom. And then Veronica's like, girl, are you crazy? Like, no, he's not a killer. He's not the Black Hood. And Betty's like, but hold on a minute. Like, how else would that guy been shot? Like, he was in prison.
Right.
Sheriff Keller has like access to it. Da 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 da. Yeah. And Veronica's like, no, you're crazy.
So then she says, You stay here. I'm going to prove it to you in my own way.
Yeah.
And then Veronica's like, I'm a prove it to you.
I have my own way too. Yeah, yeah.
I'll see you later.
Yeah.
I'll see you in 24 hours. So
like, who got the better deal? Veronica. She's the one who saw him shirtless. So in the end, Veronica wins.
Veronica wins regardless if she was right or wrong. And she was right on top of that. So Betty goes to the jail, or she goes to the department.
And this is
Sheriff's
one. Okay,
department.
this is one of the scenes I'm talking about. Like, she goes up to the freaking sheriff and she's like, "Look, how did this guy get shot? You know, this is your like sheriff's office." He's like, "Betty, I know. Like, we tried. Like, the doors. This guy got into the door. Look at the picture. Like, why are you even showing this to a girl, like a 16-year-old girl?
Yeah.
Like, what business do you have trying to prove this happened to her? Like,
a little girl.
Who cares?"
Like Alice Cooper, sure, I understand.
Yeah,
she's like a full-out reporter.
Yeah.
But why are you trying to prove?
He's like, "Oh, Betty, I tried. Like, you know, it's really hard. Like, I was on duty too. Like, I don't know what I did wrong. Like, he just like lurked in. Like, I wasn't even like paid. Like, why are you justifying your job to this girl?"
It's honestly so true.
It was
You make
too
it really,
much.
that's a
It
very
was too
good
much.
point.
I was
Yeah.
like, he's trying to like cover something. Like, it's too much.
Yeah.
You know?
So he does have an answer for that. He was
Yeah,
like, I was
she's
like,
like,
oh wait,
okay,
he like
fine.
snuck in. He like broke the lock or
Yeah.
some shit. I was like, how?
I was like, you're a sheriff's department. You don't have like a tighter lock.
It just doesn't sound
Get out
right.
of here, Sheriff Keller. Go work out.
Yeah, please. And so then it cuts to her like kind of like failing at that, or feeling like she's like, okay, I got an answer. And then it cuts to Kevin and Veronica, and they're having a sleepover. Yeah. And
cute.
Kevin's like a nerd,
but so tight that like she didn't even invite Betty.
I know. It's true.
When she says that after, I was like, yeah.
Yeah. So then she's like, how are things going with your dad? And like nothing really comes of it. And then she's like, I'm gonna get a bevy, so where's your fridge? And then she goes off. And
that scene killed me though, because when he was like playing the game, like as if she's gonna play the game with you. He's like, and then you can get the Iron Throne. She's like,
yeah, she's not even interested.
Like, I don't care.
Yeah. And so
she's like, go get me milk. Like, mommy issues.
Clearly mommy issues. She's like, I'm gonna get a Sprite.
I'll get you a milk. Okay.
Do you feel like it's weird that they're pinning him as that kind of like too wholesome almost?
No, I think it's so cute.
I feel like he's even more wholesome than Archie in so many ways.
Yeah, he is, I feel like.
But why?
I think they're just like small town boys, you know? Like,
anyway, it's weird.
It's just,
to me,
it was cute. It was just funny.
Anyway, so he goes.
So she lurks down, and then at this point, she's calling Betty now.
Right.
She's like, yo. And Betty's like, bitch, you went to his house and you didn't invite me? She's like, yeah, we're having a sleepover.
She's like,
I'm going to lurk in on the dad.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to find stuff.
And then she's like, okay, break the locks. Like, go down
Betty's
and
like,
find
check
something.
the office. Like, Betty knew right away. She's like, go to the office and check.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, but it's locked. And she's like, I have no hairpins. Like, I'm not you right now.
I'm not
like,
you.
real talk. And then Betty's like, okay, go check the basement.
Right. There must be something down there.
Veronica's like, okay, no, but it looks shady AF. Like, I'm not going down there. And Betty's like, no, go down. Like,
so she's on the phone with her.
I love the split screen too. Like, it was so
cute. So she's on the phone with her, and she's like going down the stairs, and all you hear is
oh my
like,
god, you hear like grunting. Don't stop. Don't.
You just hear grunting.
You hear grunting.
Ferocious grunting.
What did you think it was?
I definitely thought it was somebody working out. Because what else would you be doing? You're not fucking somebody.
No,
down there. What is he doing? I definitely felt like he was working out in my brain.
I didn't think he was working out, and I didn't think he was like doing anything sexual
to
somebody. Maybe to himself he was. I don't know. Like, it was weird.
In the basement?
It was so weird,
unlocked door in the basement? Okay.
I thought he was maybe like cutting up a body or something. I don't know.
Still, that's anyway. So
why doesn't anyone sleep in this town? Like,
well,
it's like midnight. Just go to sleep.
Well, he's been having issues sleeping. We know this.
He's not having issues. He's going whatever.
He's basically sleeping with someone else.
So Veronica walks down the stairs.
Yeah.
The grunting continues. Mm-hmm. She literally like sees. We see
the
this
God-given
glorious man. Like, where did he come from? This daddy who we never even thought was daddy until we saw him without his shirt on.
This man is daddy. Sheriff effing Tom Keller is daddy.
He was like like
speechless.
Like his body was like, is it CGI? Like I don't understand. Like this is insane. Like this is the man under the sheriff's uniform.
What?
And he was like sweaty. And then so she catches him. Does she hang up on Betty right then, or like what happened?
I think she's like, I gotta call you back or something.
She's like freaking out.
Oh my! I was flustered personally, so I don't know what happened in this scene. I kind of blacked out. I blacked out the rest of the audio and I just like went visual for like a good half a second.
So I think she has to like pretend like she was looking for the Sprite that she wanted.
Yeah.
She's like, there's nothing upstairs, and like I came down here. So Veronica lurks in and she's like, I still need my pop because she doesn't know how to like backtrack. Yeah. And he's like, don't worry, it's right here.
Right.
But the scene was very weird. Like it just made me feel very weird too, because I'm like, what she says after, like I was like, okay, this is like, I don't know. Anyways, so she's like, he opens the thing, whatever, he gives her the pop.
Yeah.
And then she's like,
it must be hard.
She's like, you must be like, she's like, you must be really hard. And like, she literally stops and she's like, I mean, like, it must be hard, like dealing with all of this. Like your wife's not here. Like, what do you do to yourself?
It was so weird. And it was amazing.
It was so freaking funny.
They did it. Honestly, Cami Mendes did a really good job with like the pace of the.
They were on the verge of being too awkward though. Like one more line from her and like it would have been like a little too awkward.
It was really good. They did a really really good job with it.
Like he looks amazing. I was so shocked. Literally, guys. We he was not on Daddy Radar. He was on Daddy Radar. Go check our Instagram because you will see him on our
Daddy's
radar.
at Riverdale. Yep.
But I think he was so low key. We need
to re-edit that and put more of him. Up in here now.
Oh my god, yes, I'm gonna do that right now.
Oh my god.
Okay, so what happens there? Kevin comes down and he's like literally laughing.
He's like, Daddy, what are you doing?
And he's like sipping on his milk.
Oh my god, it's so
like
weird.
His mama's boy. Anyway, so that's that.
So that's that scene.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish we could talk about it more, but anyway, whatever. I'll watch it later. And so then it comes to the next day at Pops, and in the newspaper, Betty's like, see
what happened? No, because Veronica's like, yo, by the way, like when I was sleeping, I heard the dad like leave.
At like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. He pulled out. And Betty's like, oh shit, well look at this. Yeah. She's like, he struck again the Black Hood and he killed some guy on the tracks. Stop. And like that's what happened. And Veronica's like, no, yeah, it's him. What did she say? She's like, it could be him.
No, she's like, it can't be him. She's like, maybe he fell off the tracks, but like Betty won't let go of it. She was like, she's like, or it was the Black Hood that killed him.
And it was him.
So I don't think there's anything that concludes out of that, but like,
I think her point was like, I'm not like convinced yet. Sold, I still need to get more evidence with like from his house, whatever.
Right.
So I think then it cuts to Betty goes back to the house.
She waits for him to leave.
She sees him like he literally pulls out of the driveway. And she walks to the house. She knows where the spare key is, Avi. She walks in.
Doesn't she use a hairpin? Oh, no. She
like finds it under the flower pot. She goes in. She heads right for the office. Mm-hmm. And right then, she opens the door and she sees all the evidence like sprawled on the wall.
Yeah.
And it's all like the Black Hood, like the killings, the people. There's like words there. There's like lust, sex, like desire, like these weird like words. And I'm like, why would he like type those words and print them out? He's adding like context to his murder board. I'm just like, what's happening? He's like telling a story. And then she's like, oh shit. She opens the drawer.
Yeah.
His drawer. And she finds the Black Hood.
Yeah.
A Black Hood.
And
she's like, oh, hell no. And then right then, he literally lurks behind her. He's like, Betty.
Betty, what you doing up in here?
And so she gets caught.
Yeah.
And then the next scene is back at the office, like the sheriff's department, whatever. Yeah. And he calls Hal. And this is another scene that I found very, very, very like weird. Sheriff Keller is so like hype. He's like, Betty, you saw my wall, but I'm not the killer. Da, da, da.
This is the storyline.
He's like, that was Reggie's mask that he gave to Archie. I'm like, how would you even know that? Seriously, how would he even know that?
How would he even know that?
That Reggie gave him a black... Oh, because they found it in the locker.
Right.
And then he's like, look, this is my...
Wait.
No, he did. Because he found it in Archie's...
But he didn't admit that to him.
Huh? Wait.
Writing... unless the writing is not right...
Hold on, guys. Wait, so when Sheriff Keller found the mask in Archie's locker...
Yeah.
Archie didn't put Reggie because that's why Reggie like loved him after.
Comes with the pizza, yeah.
Oh my God, how would he know that?
So he doesn't technically know that, or does he? And why does he know the information?
So either the writers messed up or he's sketch.
Or we're listening to this wrong. Maybe he didn't say Reggie's name. But I'm pretty sure he said Reggie's name.
He did.
Okay.
Anyways, so in that whole moment, he's literally like confessing to Betty. He's like, I wasn't there when all these murders happened. Here's my logbook, Betty.
Yeah.
Look through my logbook.
Yeah.
You can tell my times when I was. I'm like, again, why are you trying to prove so hard that, you know, you're innocent?
Right.
And the whole time I'm watching Hal Cooper, because, you know, he's our other suspect.
And
Hal Cooper's like, yeah, Betty. Yeah, like he's right. Like, listen to him. I was like, I don't trust you either.
Yeah.
You know something. You both know something.
There's
you're both hiding something
sketchy there.
And Betty's face is just like she's buying it, but like she's not really buying it.
Right.
Like it sounds too fishy. And then what happens?
And then it just cuts to I think that ends, but then they talk. Veronica and Betty talk. I think again.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Okay, let's like follow him again."
So even after all of that convincing, Betty's still not like she's like, no, like he's still sketch. And she calls Veronica. She's like, you even saw him pulling out. Like he's hiding something for sure. We have to get to the like bottom of it. So they go back to his house, but it's like dark now. And it's like nighttime, and they wait till he like gets in his truck and like he leaves.
Yeah.
And they follow him to like the motel, and he gets out of his car.
He pulls like a bag, like a duffel bag out,
and she's like freaking out now.
She's like,
oh my God, he's gonna kill someone like right now.
That's his killing bag. That's the bag that he kills with.
And Veronica's like, wait a minute, girl, hold on. But Betty's like gone. She's like, she already like left the car. And Veronica's like, okay, I gotta follow this bitch. So they creep up to the door, and Sheriff Keller like knocks on the door, and it opens. And then who is it?
It's no.
It's Mayor McCoy, and she's all like horned up, and she's like, "Come in,
she's like,
Daddy."
They have like a really quick like
and they kiss.
Makeup moment.
We made a good point because we were like, if they're trying to keep this like on lock, like why are they making out in the middle of this motel like hallway? Like go inside and do what you gotta do.
If two teenage kids can see you guys making out, you don't think anybody else in the city was gonna see you?
And so basically, Veronica's like, I was right. Like he's screwing
nailed it.
Like, well, he's having an affair, but like they didn't know that it was Mayor McCoy.
Yeah.
And I was just confused because I was like, girl, you're staying at the 5 season. Like, why are you at this motel?
Yeah, it's
like,
true.
Go get it in at your nice hotel.
Some next motel. Yeah, it's like the next motel.
Yeah, no, it's like,
so then it cuts to Pop's Diner again. So like everything kind of ends off at Pop's Diner. And that's when Betty and Veronica have that conversation. Yeah. She's like, oh yeah, true. She's like, my female instincts already said that they were cheating.
Like, I got this. I know that.
She's like, I know that shit. And then she's like, true. And then it kind of sees like, it shows everybody kind of coming into
you
Pop's
see
Diner.
Everyone now in their own booth.
Right.
It was cute because like they were sitting there, like the girls.
Because that was their final scene in their story.
And then Veronica was like, oh, the boys are here. But then the boys walk in and they go to the other side of Pops.
Right.
And she's like, oh, like they look like they're having like a really like intense convo. Like let's leave them for now.
Yeah.
And that was their ending.
That was their conversation.
That was like Archie and Jughead.
And then like in the far back on the other side, you can see
like,
Cheryl and Josie like sipping tea.
And like Josie can't talk because like her voice is gone.
She's like, here's your tea, honey.
She's like, thanks.
She's like, thank you. And then we get a phone call from Pop, or Pops gets a phone call. He answers and he's like, Pops, sitting like, there for like 2.5 minutes holding the phone. He's like,
I literally thought, I'm like, Pops, he's gonna
just like holding the phone. He's like,
I thought he was the Black Hood for
quiet.
a sec.
Yeah. And then
it took so long by like, well, I'm like, what is he trying to say, this man?
Then he hangs up and then he's like, so that was him, the Black Hood. And we all failed.
Like he's like, that was him. And Archie's like, oh. Archie like gets up. Everyone's like looking. Up, He's like, he just called to say.
So slow. Hurry up. Say it.
He's like, the day of reckoning is coming. And everyone's like, no. I'm like, oh my God, this took like 8 minutes. Like, why? Pops, get out of here. Like,
Pops is not great at timing, unfortunately. He's not the best.
He seems very lazy too sometimes.
So that's the end of the episode. So what did you think of the entire thing?
I loved it all. Honestly, that last ending for me was like very like, I'm like, this is stupid.
So
we know what's gonna happen. Like obviously, guys, he's still watching you guys, and like the day of reckoning is gonna happen.
Yeah.
But I think it was a really good episode.
So technically, let's talk about like the next few episodes and what can happen.
Yeah. So next week we saw the promo.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's a really good Archie and Veronica moment.
Yeah.
And then
I love yous are exchanged.
Yeah,
or not exchanged.
I think FP is out next week.
Yeah, it's like his like celebration party, I think.
Yeah, and then he's gonna turn the F up.
Do you think that now that Sheriff McCoy and they're having an affair?
What?
Now that they're
Sheriff
having an
McCoy?
Sheriff
because they're one.
Because they're one person now. Yeah, exactly. So now that they're both together and they're having an affair.
Like, I love that.
Yeah, I'm
like
down
just
for
get
that.
it, girl. You get it with your daddy. Like, do it.
Hook it up.
This is all good. Your man is like on tour. His wife is on tour in the army. Like, you guys have a connection.
Anyway, but do you think that now the Black Hood is going to go after both of them?
I don't know. That's my thing, because I'm like, they're having an affair. Like, they're cheaters. But I honestly do feel like Hal and Sheriff Keller are in on this thing.
Right.
Like, this episode convinced me. And I also feel like it's funny that, Betty thought that he was the killer and Veronica thought he was having an affair. Veronica's right. I almost feel like Betty's going to be right too by the end of it all. Yeah. Like, they're both going to be right.
Guys, don't forget that we put together some cool videos on our YouTube channel, and one of them is who's the Black Hood, and we put together some suspects.
Go check it out, guys. Let us know what you guys think. Comment under the video
and tell us like if this episode changed your mind at all.
Yeah.
So
if anything, for me, I feel like it reinforced my theories.
Yeah, I feel like talking to you about it and saying how like even the sheriff pushing the fact that he's like, here's my evidence, here's where I was.
Because at first I was like, oh no, they're gonna cross out Sheriff Keller now.
Right.
But that's not what happened. I feel like if anything, like he looked more guilty.
In your opinion, it
in
felt
my
like
opinion, in my opinion.
And like talking to you about it later, I was like, true, I never really thought about it that way, but it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into
recap roundups. Best moment. My best moment goes to Chuck and Josie. I'm gonna give it to the C-list.
The C-list storyline.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to them because I feel like that moment was so freaking cute.
Yeah.
In an episode that was really dark and really like scary and them dancing, and we've never seen that before, like in Pops. And it was really like, I feel like it was a very iconic moment almost. They were really cute together. Like, I'm kind of down for them, but I'm also down for Reggie too. So it's like, where was Reggie in all of this?
Yeah, and at this point in time, because she kind of goes after Chuck at the end of the episode or the end of the scene,
it's like, what was the point of that?
So does that mean that he becomes a scapegoat? He's still like the bad person?
Yeah.
Like, where's that gonna go at the end of it all?
Yeah.
My favorite moment is obviously shirtless Tom Keller. Hello. I think that I'm already replaying that in the back of my mind, like, for the rest of my life.
Yeah, like that's your
that's my go-to
moment of the year.
Moment of life. It was amazing. It was really, really hot.
It was really
really great. Awesome. Loved it.
Like, good for you, dude. Like, you look amazing. Like, Dad D.
Dad D.
Like, damn.
Amazing.
I could have saw my dad. That was too weird.
Okay.
WTF moment. My WTF moment was when Betty sees Sheriff Keller's wall. Just because I felt like, I'm like, oh my god, like he is the Black Hood.
Right.
It was almost like a too in-depth wall where I was like, he looks guilty now.
But he's an investigator.
I know, but I just didn't. Like, again, like he added those words. It was so extra.
Printed out the words, yeah.
I'm like, what do you? Yeah.
He was extra. Interesting.
And especially because I didn't think she was gonna find anything. I really thought she would open the door and it would be like empty.
Be empty.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was surprised.
My WTF moment is finding out how Cheryl is a cray person.
Yeah.
And that she basically organized and staged that whole situation with Josie.
Didn't expect that.
I was like, I
thought it was gonna be the janitor, but I'm like,
yeah. I feel like the janitor would have been too obvious.
They kept cutting to him. I'm like, okay, guys.
But also, like, the janitor has really good drawing skills, and I'm like, who knows how to draw really, really well?
Yeah.
And like, Cheryl, I can't believe you are that.
She's like
that nutty.
Too.
Yeah, that's too much.
I didn't think that.
That's too much. Too much, Cheryl.
MVP.
So mine is kind of like a dynamic duo, obviously.
Of course.
B and V go together.
Iconic.
They did a really, really good job. They sleuthed it out. Between the two of them, they kind of like put together both their pieces. Obviously, one was like the Black Hood, and then one of them was like, he's cheating.
Yeah.
But then it turns out that he's cheating, which they found out the answer to that and to Mayor McCoy. And still, you're right. At the end of the day, like, maybe Betty's still right. We don't know for sure. She's still not kind of letting it up.
Yeah.
By the end of the episode, I guess she kind of does, but
we'll see what happens.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. Who's yours?
My MVP goes to Mrs. Mary McCoy.
Oh yeah!
For getting that man.
Get it, girl.
Getting the daddy.
Get it.
And like honestly, out of everyone in the show, she is doing it right now. Like, she's having the time of her life. She's living her best life.
Yeah.
Like no one else is right now. Everyone else is like scared of this black hood. She doesn't care. Like she's getting it in every night at the motel. Like she's good.
She's
so
good.
She is the MVP of the season right now. The best line.
So my best line goes to the creepy truck man and how he says you never know on the way to Greendale. Because I think that it's a very quick underscore of what goes on in Greendale. It's giving a preface to that world potentially, what could lead to that world. And I think we did get a little bit of a little tap on what could happen there with the crossover potentially.
Or maybe they're just leaving these little gaps open.
Sure.
So that like later on they could explore it
It's
more.
not like crazy magical right now, right? But it's very mysterious and sketchy.
Very weird,
So it was cool that he was able to say it, so then we can be like, okay, now we have to see that Greendale is like a kind of a magical, sketchy, weird place.
Yeah.
How about you?
My best line goes to Veronica when she's talking to Daddy Keller.
Yeah.
And she's like, you must get super hard with all the pressure. And I think she first says, you must get super hard. And then she like sketches out. She's like, with all the pressure, without like Mrs. Keller.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah.
She says
like,
it.
oh God,
so like the
weird.
comedic timing in that part was like so iconic.
Yeah.
I loved it. So that's the end of the episode, guys. So right before I get to the finals, I just want to remind you that we are doing a pop socket giveaway. And B, can you break it down? What is a pop socket?
A pop socket is, first of all, just Google it. Okay, go look at it. What a pop socket is. The most clutch thing.
It's honestly so clutch. I'm using it right now as I'm holding my phone.
Yeah. And we've made custom Riverdale themed pop sockets for you guys.
Yeah.
So
check out our Twitter and B put together some amazing designs. So like just see which one like you'd like and enter the contest.
And how to enter? You subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Do it.
You like this video.
Yep.
Drop us a like.
Yep.
And then comment below on this video on YouTube and let us know what you think was in that mystery box that Jughead had to deliver.
And the best answer wins.
Best answer wins, guys.
Let us know by the end of the season, y'all, and we will get you that pop socket right to your door for free. So just enter. That's the episode. Like I said, I'm not sure how you guys find us, but did you know that Recap Rewind is now on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Facebook?
We're like everywhere.
Everywhere. Omnipresent like the Black Hood.
Do you feel me?
Down your neck. Make sure you stay connected and join the conversation. Like, subscribe, follow, review, and comment to stay engaged with Recap Rewind. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.